Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Culture Overload, the realest motherfucking podcast out there. If you're new to this podcast where we talk about literally anything and everything from news, politics, stories, experiences, you name it, we talk it. Also, we don't filter out anything. So if you are new, or if you are overly sensitive, it's probably this podcast isn't for you. You can click off right now and your feelings will probably be in a lot of a better place. Even though today's episode is not even sensitive at all, it's not even as seriously a topic. It's kind of for the old viewers, kind of an update. If you are new, this is no, don't click on. I don't think this is a good episode to start on. It's kind of just talking about the past, the future of the podcast, kind of an update since we haven't posted in a month. And just things like that. So if you are new to this podcast, probably not a good episode to start off on. Listen to something from before, maybe. But if you have been a viewer of this podcast or a listener to this podcast, this is for you. This is a little update. You've been like, oh my god, where have they been? It's been a month. No posts. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. We're sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know about we, which I'm going to talk about right now. So, as you guys notice, I usually have hosts. I usually had two, but then I went to one. And now I'm myself. Me, myself, and I. Okay, enough bullshit. Let's get into the update. So, you guys will notice I'm by myself. I'm repeating that. So, what has happened? I don't know how to really get into this, because it's not. I don't want people to think, oh, this is drama, cultural overload drama. We're not even that big yet, so no one's gonna even think that. Or like our 3 viewers are gonna be like, wow, cool, he posted again. So we've been obviously haven't posted in a month. Ever since our last episode, I've been trying to coordinate with Abdullah when we want to record. He would always be like, our schedule all over the place. We would never actually end up scheduling some time to actually record, and that kind of went on for maybe like a good, I think we haven't posted in like a month and a half, so maybe that went on for like a month. So I was like, yo, we need to have a meeting for the podcast, and then that was never, like, we never had the time to actually sit down in person and talk about it. And this isn't something I kind of want to text about. This is like a serious chat. We need to see what's going on in the future. But I didn't want to wait any longer. It's been like a month and a half or whatever, so I thought I would do this episode, let you guys know where everything's at, maybe where the things are going to be at in the future, the possibilities, what could go on. But I just want to keep you guys updated on where have we been, why haven't we posted. So, let's get into that. I tried to get try to schedule a time to record. He was busy. And then he told me, he's like, I don't know. He said something at one time. He's like, I don't know about the podcast anymore. We should maybe work. I want to work on let's work on a YouTube channel. So at that point, I was like, okay, clearly the motivation's died, which I kind of knew going into the podcast, and I'll get into that later. So, he's like, I kind of want to do gaming videos or, YouTube channel. And then ever since that, I've been trying to, have a meeting, chat. Everyone's, oh my god, I don't know if it's getting older or what, but everyone's schedule is so hectic. Like, I remember the boys, quote unquote, we used to hang out all the time, and now everyone's like fucking married with kids. Like, we're all that busy. Like, I don't think we have seen each other since some shit went down. But everyone's busy, we haven't been able to sit down and talk about it. So I thought, I'd give you guys this update that, this podcast going forward might just be a solo show from now on. So I just kind of wanted to keep that, just tell you guys that. Because, I don't know, the motivation maybe isn't there. We're still yet to talk about it. If Abdullah still wants to co-host or, be a host with me, or, how he's feeling about the podcast. But as of right now, it seems like he's not motivated to do the podcast anymore. And when I said I kind of knew this going into it, I'll tell you guys a story. So, if you are new, I don't know why you're still listening if you're new, but I'm studying architecture, so a lot of it involves a lot of group work and, a lot of parties and a lot of communication. So, we kind of have a training for group, or a lot of our courses are basically, they focus a lot on communication, group work, and all that. And a lot of times it comes up where it's like, what's the number one thing for a group? And, they say it's to have everyone in the group should have a common goal. Because then that's when, the group it will be successful. It will be most successful. Everyone knows what's going on. So, going into this podcast, we learned that, right? I kept mind of that, and I wanted to see how it would be with the podcast. So when we started the podcast, and this isn't shit talking, this isn't to be like, oh, I'm better than them, or oh, this and that. No. This is just, the experience. This is what the podcast is all about. After all, it's, real people having real conversations. So I'm kind of telling you guys, what kind of goes on, and maybe you guys can learn from the situation, or what happened, and maybe you guys can learn from that. But when we got together originally, me, Ibrahim, and Abdullah, when we sat down together, I remembered what I learned in school, so I was like, all right, let me see, let me try it out, let me see it in this turn, like in the podcast. So in the beginning, I was like, okay, so what's your intentions with this podcast? What's the goal? And to them, it's not shit talking still or anything. I'm not trying to. It's not exposing. It's just it's the facts. But they were like, they're in it for the money. They were in it for the money mostly, like to grow this, to get money, to have another stream of income. For me, personally, I went in. My goal. I did not give a fuck about the money. We're barely making anything, and it's probably going to be a while before we do. So. My goal was, not for the money, just to have a platform, kind of vent out, have a project to work on, something to take my time. If anyone knows me, I like working on projects, I like keeping busy. So, and at the time, I was dying for something to work on. Like I've been dying for like a year. I've been looking for a business to start or a project to start. And then the podcast came up, so I was really motivated about that, and I didn't really care about the money. I just wanted something to work on. But, keep in mind, they were motivated for the money. I was motivated just for the, just for the podcast, just the work of it, the process, the growing this. So, when I saw that, originally I was going to point it out. I was going to be like, yo, there's an issue here. We don't have a common goal, and so it's not going to end up going very far in the future at this rate. But I was like, okay, you know what? I haven't actually tested it. I haven't tested that theory of, the group should have a common goal. I mean, it makes sense, but I've never actually seen it. So I was like, all right, you know what? I won't say anything. Let's see, down the line, 8 months, or, 4, 6, 8 months from now, if it's going to be, we're going to be together, no, it's going to be the same motivation levels or not. I originally knew too that if they were motivated for the money, I knew their motivation wasn't going to last, because if your motivation is money and you don't see money coming in right away, you're not going to want to keep it going if you're not having fun, right? So I don't know if they were having fun. And I don't know why. I don't know, maybe it was because of me. I don't, as another host, maybe I led the conversations in places that weren't entertaining for them. I don't know why I'm blaming myself, but I don't know. It could be a possibility. So I'm not ruling that out. But when we tried to get it all together, when I tried to get Abdullah to come back and record again, it was kind of like the motivation wasn't there. So I kind of knew it was like, okay, I don't know. I wanted to keep the podcast going, and I've been recently trying to ask myself, like, why do I want to keep it going? Is it because I actually just want to, like, enjoy the... I mean, yes, I do enjoy the fact that, I want to grow an audience, I want to grow something, I like something to work on, and I like just having something to vent. I have a lot of shit that goes on in my head. I might as well just have a little place to put it out there. So I like that fact, but I don't know if it's also another factor that makes me want to keep going, and it's the fact that I've done so many things in my life. Like when I was younger, I worked on so many little projects. Like I did a YouTube, I did graphic design, which I still know how to do. Like the graphic design is something that you learn and you can't lose it really. But like a bunch of little projects, like YouTube, at a very young age, I was like what, in grade 6, 7, 8, very young, and I was working on YouTube videos, editing and shit like that. And every time, not only that, and then in high school I did a project, or I did a t-shirt company. Before, now you see everyone doing clothing lines and like clothing brands and apparel brands or whatever. I did this shit in grade 10 when I was like what, 15. And that was before this boom of anyone can do anything, like this drop shipping and all this shit. And imagine, like, back then it was so much easier. And I looked back and I was like, why did I not go anywhere with those things that I pursued when I was younger? And when I was looking, like, right now, evaluating my life, I'm like, I felt like I doubted myself for a bit, like starting businesses and shit like that because of the past. But then I looked at the past and I'm like, why? Every business that I've started before, why did it not succeed? Or any project that I've pursued before, why did it not succeed? And it's always because I didn't stick with it. And I mean, I was a kid. I don't expect myself to stick with shit for long. I mean, I guess I was trying shit out. Yeah, I mean, I was trying shit out, but like, imagine if I did stick with it, I would have gotten way better. Maybe I would have grown my viewership. For sure, I would have grown my viewership. But, I looked back at all these projects, and I'm like, I never stuck with any of them, so I didn't know if they could be successful or not. So a big part of it too is why I want to keep this podcast going. Besides the fact that I like just having this podcast, this platform to rant on, and kind of want to grow something, have something to work on, but I also want to like prove to myself, kind of, I guess, or not let the past failures repeat themselves. Because I've always like picked something up and stopped. Picked something up and stopped. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to stick, when I pick something up, I want to stick with it and until it's successful and see where it goes. That was the mentality starting this podcast too with myself. I don't know about Abdullah and them. I don't know if they've tried as many businesses or done as many things and kind of like looked back on it. But I personally want to keep this podcast going, and I want to see where it goes, because I'm not gonna repeat those same mistakes again. I don't want to give up on something right away, and I want to stick with this, have fun with it, and then maybe it'll grow. Who knows? But I don't want to give up on this too soon, as the other hosts did, and that's why I kind of want to keep this going. I learned from those mistakes, and I'm like, I've never stuck with something. And I don't know, maybe that's the success to formula now. Maybe that's why I failed before, but I learned from that, and maybe that's the lesson that, the good lesson that I learned by trying those things out and trying businesses out when I was very young. Maybe that was it. I just needed to learn that I need to not give up on something, just stick with it, and it. Now to me it's like I have to stick with something. Like that's the mentality now that I've noticed. Like before, when I was a kid, because I looked at the project when I did as a kid, and I looked back and I'm like, imagine if I stuck with those things, what could have happened? So I feel like just looking at that, I'm like, I'm not gonna let that happen again. I'm not giving up on another thing. And you know, I started that t-shirt business and YouTube when I was very young, and it was easier to grow that. So when I looked at that and I looked, oh, I fucking missed out on those opportunities. Now that I'm growing up and pursuing more things, it's like, yeah, now I'm not stopping something until it's successful. I'm not gonna give up that easy, and I'm not gonna get unmotivated that easy because I know it's gonna take time, and I just gotta love the process. I guess it's cheesy as fuck and like probably some Gary V shit right here, but yeah, that's it. That's why I guess I want to keep this podcast going, solo or not. But speaking of that, if this podcast does go solo, it will change a little bit. I'm gonna go back to probably to once a week. I do want to post twice a week, but my schedule is a little bit hectic now that I don't have, and now that I wouldn't have anyone to help me edit or any of that, it would all be on me. So I would have to manage that by myself. So it'd have to be once a week until I see how that works with my schedule. And also the content might change a little bit. Obviously, I think I'm going to focus a lot on getting guests on, so trying to get a guest for every episode, maybe. But if not, expect it to be maybe like a rant style like this, like a one-on-one with me and you, me and the listener. And I don't know if you guys like that, because it did go from a podcast where it had other hosts, and there's always people to bounce ideas off of, but now it's like sometimes it'll be a solo episode and it's just my thoughts, my ideas, my my opinions, which now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think it's a good thing. I'm gonna get canceled so fucking quickly. My filter is like almost non-existent. So that'll be interesting. But I think it's been it for today's episode. I know you guys probably listened to my voice long enough. I know. I'm sorry. There's no other two beautiful, soothing voices to join me. So also, yeah, if you hate my voice, I guess this podcast may not be for you either. Not sensitive people. But enough of that. Let me know what you guys think of this update going forward, what you guys think of the future, and the future episode, the future content that I'm planning for. But yeah, I'm still yet to talk to Abdullah, and I'll probably give you guys a solid update once we get that on the way. But yeah, expect more. This podcast is not over. Just because we haven't posted in a month and a half doesn't mean we're done. At least I'm not done. So if you guys like my voice, at least, and you like me hosting, I'll be here. So you guys can still tune in. I'm smiling very stupidly with a thumb up right now, but you guys can't see me, so I'm gonna enjoy it. But okay, I'm goofy as fuck right now. But all right, good night, guys. It's like fucking 12:22 a.m. and I'm recording this. I recorded this four or five times. I recorded them. I got to the end and I'm like, it's fucking ass. Delete it. And I was like, alright, no, delete it. I'm recording again. But yeah, that's an episode for you guys. If you guys like me being a host, solo host, stay tuned. I don't know. We'll keep you guys in the loop. I'm so confused on what's going on. I just wanted to post an episode because it's been so long, and I just don't want to not post. But yeah, bye guys. See you on the next episode.